Hello YouTube! So, thought I'd turn the camera around this time. You don't all want to see the trip down Austin's busy roads at rush hour every single time I do a video. So, as you can see in the back window, Middlesbrough Football Club, up the borough. Only football team around. Carl will suggest Blackpool, but all I have to say to you, Carl, is, what was that girl who was on Twitter who thought our president was Barraco? What? Our what? Crazy Blackpoolidians, or whatever the hell they would call themselves. Anywho, why am I doing a video today? Sunglasses are on because even though the sun isn't out, it's still extremely bright in Texas. Temperature outside is absolutely gorgeous. I've wound the windows down up and put the air conditioning on. It's that warm. It's March the what, 10th or something like that? I don't know. But it's warm. It's gorgeous coming out of work. Wind the windows down in the cars to let some of the heat out. Just fantastic. Come the summer, I'll hate it. It's going to be over 100 degrees for 97 days in a row. It's going to be hell. But right now, it's fantastic. This weekend, South by Southwest Interactive in Austin, Texas. I got to see a number of really fantastic things. I'm going to not be able to recall the names of some of them, so I'll put links down below as to what they are. But I got to see a number of independent games producers, indie game producers, talk to them, talked about their games. Ibb and Obb, Ibb and Obb, recommended two-player game. For anybody who enjoy playing two-player Portal, it's kind of like Portal, but it's a 2D game, so it's kind of like Mario Portal. I don't know, it's a great little game. There was another one called, I think it was called Nidhogg or something like that, which was a two-player game, sword fighting game. Would be great for the 16-bit brothers to have a go on, a challenge between them. It's you start in a middle screen. Each of you got to battle with your way 7 screens in the other direction, and the only thing in your way is the other player. Fantastic game. There were lots and lots of really great games. There were lots of people with doing Oculus Rift games. Most of them average. One of them was a Pac-Man in a hotel with ghosts. You couldn't get any power pills. You just had to pick up the pills and avoid the ghosts. And there was another one where you were Classroom Aquatic, I think it was called, which has been a Kickstarter recently. It was very popular, raised a lot of money. Garbage game, terrible, boring, cheating at school, in an underground school where in a school with dolphins. Stupid game. Don't see the point in that at all. However, Game of Thrones, don't watch the series, don't have HBO, but I'd heard that they had a special Oculus Rift based ride in their thing that they have in Texas. You can go and sit on the throne and look at all the clothes and look at pictures and little videos and behind the scenes things. Not interested in any of it. Went there purely to go on the Oculus Rift interactive experience that they created. You stand in a lift, elevator for my American friends, and it blows cold air on the top. Even you're rising up the side of this icy cliff that's part of Game of Thrones, and the village disappears below you. You get to the top of the cliff, you turn around, and you walk, or it walks you, you're just standing still. It's blowing cold air at you all the time, and you're walking through this cutout on the snow at the top of this cliff, and you look over the edge, you go right to the edge, and you look over the edge down, and you see below there's a forest, and there's some people come out of the forest, and they start firing flaming arrows at you. One of them hits you right in the chest. You look down, it's right in your chest. You start to fall, and you fall down the cliff. You get a real sense of vertigo, real sense of being there. Fantastic little demo. Lasts 90 seconds to 2 minutes. This is what Oculus Rift is going to be about. It is going to be easy access to download things that maybe you're $1 or $2 each, and are an interactive experience that you can show your friends, ride on a roller coaster where pieces of it are missing, get scared to death by things leaping out of the screen at you. Just fantastic stuff. I then went on to the Oculus demo. They had the Oculus Loft, and they were showing off the Crystal Cove, the new Oculus Rift that allows you to move your head around, and it senses the position of your head and in 3D space, as well as your rotation and your tilt, etc. and you tilt like this. And that it was the high-res headset. I was expecting more of it. There was definitely still a little bit of screen door there, which is sort of the checkerboard effect, where you see the pixels and you see because even the high resolution image is stretched out. A single high resolution tablet is stretched out to cover your field of view from here all the way over to here, and so you see the individual pixels and you see the gaps between the individual pixels as black stripes, horizontal and vertical. But still very, very good. Could read the text quite well. No problem with that. The game I played, I think they had Valkyrie stickers, but I don't think it was Valkyrie. It was a space shoot 'em up with asteroids. You launched out of a booster, just like at most sci-fi movies. And the guy introducing it was saying about what buttons you press and how you lock onto targets. And I did that, and I found it to be quite boring. The really fun thing was flying around the asteroids, zipping up to them, going right underneath them, pulling up round behind them and up and backwards and flipping over and just barely clipping them. I actually bumped into one of the asteroids. I was ducking down at the time, and the bump actually felt like I was hitting my head or hitting the top of the ship. There was clear glass above me on the asteroid. It was just, as an experience, that was fantastic. It was so visceral, and you were right there. You were actually out in space. The whole shooting down the other ships was something we've all done. It was, why ace combat is, or air combat, or whatever they call it, is no longer of any real interest to anybody, because it's lock on target, press button, lock on target, press button, lock on target, press button. It's just boring. Anyhow, that was Oculus Rift. I also watched a movie called Clouds, a little bit of a movie where the guy captured people's faces using a version 1 of the Kinect, and then asked them questions about video gaming, and then you could move around them. And it was okay. It was interesting. It wasn't absolutely fantastic, but it was interesting. And sorry, I'm just changing lanes to change my route because the light has turned green ahead on this side, so I'm sneaking through here instead of going down there, which is busy. Anywho, so that was Oculus Rift. That was fantastic. I asked them when the high-res developer version was coming out, and they're still non-committal. They're not willing to say when the high-res developers version. But to be honest, I'm tempted to go for it anyway. It really inspired me to do the game that I want to do in Oculus Rift. And if you're interested in writing games and you're at all logical, then Unity 3D is the thing to download. And you can make a game, you can watch a video on YouTube, and you can have a game written in a matter of a couple of hours. And if it doesn't inspire you to write games, then you're probably dead. So you might as well just top yourself. Carl. Anywho, what else? I saw Mario Kart 4. They had a live action Mario Kart where you had tablets and screens and pick-me-ups in go-karts, but the go-karts were all really slow, and I'm used to high-speed electric go-karts now. I just couldn't be bothered queuing and going on that. You could queue and sit on an actual Mario Kart go-kart, have your picture taken inside a little real fabricated one. All the kids were doing it, and some sad adults didn't want to do that. What else was there that was of interest at Interactive? A lot of really great indie games is basically what I came away with, and I really enjoyed talking to the indie game developers. They were really fantastic. And I think, as I said in my last video, I think the way things are going to go is short games. Anything from Oculus Rift, from 3 minutes to 2-hour experiences. And I don't think people are going to be willing to contribute much more than that. I know people are sitting down and watching Netflix entire series in a weekend, the whole series of Arrested Development and the whole series of House of Cards, but I think that's going to go by the by. I think it's going to be short, rapid experiences. That's the way things are going to go. Gaming purchases recently. I got Flashback 4, which is the Atari thing. It has paddles, infrared joysticks, and 75 games on there. Not the real Atari Space Invaders, but the real arcade Space Invaders. In fact, a slightly simplified version of the arcade Space Invaders to make it easier for today's modern gamers who can't tolerate how slowly you have to move and how deliberate your planning has to be to actually beat that game. But still very good value. I got the expensive one that has a signed patent of the Atari by Nolan Bushnell. I doubt it's signed by Nolan. I'm sure it's just a stamp or something of his signature, but I want to see him. He's 70-something-year-old now, Nolan Bushnell. He's a fantastic guy, and I really would like to meet him. One of the great things about living in America is, and living in somewhere like Austin, is you get to meet lots and lots and lots of famous people. Richard Dawkins, the Dalai Lama. If I'd lived in Middlesbrough, the chances of meeting Richard Dawkins and the Dalai Lama just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. Anywho, that's all for me for today.